Hey, this is Sky. Welcome to my YouTube channel. You remember that phrase when we were kids? Sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me. You know, we were taught that in order to make us emotionally stronger. So we weren't so emotionally fragile. So when somebody said something to us that we didn't like, called us a name on the playground, we didn't cry. We didn't flip out into a rage and hit them. And we didn't need to go and tattle to the teacher, pulling on her skirt every time somebody did something or said something that we didn't like. It helps to teach you to be, have a little thicker skin, to be a little tougher, and to realize that you're not a dictator. You can't control the world. You can navigate through it. You don't have to stop and fight every battle. And just let it go. Who cares what that person thinks? It seems to be that a lot of that is going out the window. It feels to me like that we're living in an era now of emotional fragility. With more than just one generation, we have lots of people out there, from baby boomers down to Gen Z. Not all, but we can cherry pick through each generation, of people that are incredibly emotionally fragile. And it feels like that it's become a problem. That's the real pandemic, is emotional fragility. I think emotional fragility is basically just being out of control of your emotions, not having control of your emotions. So your emotions overwhelm you. I can honestly say that I've been emotionally weak and emotionally fragile, but it was through anger. Some people can be emotionally fragile in other areas, through shame, through guilt, through fear. You have your little weak area that hasn't been hashed out yet, sorted out yet, because of attachments to emotional attachments to a past trauma, and that carries with you through the future and through your life, and you have these triggers, and that's what your triggers are, is those cords of emotional attachment to the past. Not all, I can't say everybody, but a lot of people have little triggers. Some people have big ones, some people have a whole bunch of them. Mine was typically around issues of anger, and it's important to understand that whenever we have a trigger, that's a fragility. And when we have a fragility, when we're fragile, when our shell is fragile, it's our job to strengthen that. It's not the world's job to soften itself. Other people don't have to care about how fragile you are. That's something that you need to figure out how to navigate, the world being soft. And when you're soft and you're navigating a hard world, the trick is to harden yourself. This is what training is about. I like to promote a brand of warrior training that has been practiced for thousands of years, that encompasses mind, body, and soul, to harden us and get us ready for what life has to offer us, instead of being like so many emotional fragile people who are weak people. They can't navigate, they can't move forward properly along the path, because they're always stopping to cry about some bullshit, always stopping to laugh about some bullshit, to go through some exaggerated range of emotion about something that's stupid, about something that doesn't even matter, that you can give a chuckle at or say, man, that's fucked up, but you just move on. Some people just stay stuck at that shit. I was watching a video earlier that someone sent me, and it was amusing, and I got a good laugh out of it. Until I started thinking about it. It's my problem, I think too much, but it was of this lesbian woman who looked rather androgynous, and she was having an emotional breakdown, and she was very emotionally fragile, a snowflake, And she was making the video herself, and she was in her car, and she was crying, and she flip-flopped between like sorrow and being upset and rage and anger because of how she was treated at her work by a fellow coworker. The whole issue that she was having an emotional breakdown about was funny because she was crying and quit her job because she wasn't referred to in the right pronoun, which is just some kind of new bullshit. She doesn't want to be called a girl because she, identifies as other, and she doesn't want to be called a boy because I guess she doesn't identify as that either. So she wants to be called they or them. To me, listening to the video, it's all very silly, and I thought it was funny. And she's crying. And this is a major deal to her. She just quit her job. She's fucked up off of this. We've seen videos like this before. I'm sure you've seen similar videos of some social justice warrior or some millennial who's overly sensitive crying about how they were treated, a name they were called, the respect that they didn't get, the treatment that they didn't get that they wanted. This is all, there's many others. You can think of others. Name some others in the comments below of what, to help us identify emotional fragility. But to me, when I think about it, it just boils down to, I saw this video and I'm just like, man, it's sad that this chick is so emotionally fragile, that she's so attached to her emotions, to where it's allowing her to navigate life in such a blinded way. It's like, we can have different perspectives on the world. You can run through the woods in the sticks as they're hitting you, and if you've ever run through the woods off the path, that can be a dangerous thing to do. You'll get scratched and cut for sure. Those branches are there, and you'll just start running right through them. It sucks. It's a shitty way to go through the woods. It's a shitty way to experience the woods. You can't tell where you're going or what's going on. You just get hurt. The whole experience is painful. You can stay on the path. You see what you see, and sometimes you can go off the path a little bit, but when you go hiking, you typically always staying on the path, but that's always where other people have trod. Very few of us go hiking as pioneers with machetes creating new paths. I really think technology is interesting sometimes in how it offers us an advantage, especially on perspective. And I was talking with a guy the other day, and he's much younger than me, and he was saying that he was hiking through Utah and he brought this drone, and the drone had some sort of program connection, maybe you understand it better than I do, with his cell phone, and it followed him. So he launched the drone, he goes hiking up into the mountains, and this fucking drone is following him the whole time. So he can check on his camera and see a different outlook. He's got the view of the path. He can go off the path and see what's off the path into the thick sticks, into the woods, or maybe find an outlook. But the whole time he's got this drone look, which really gives him an advantage of seeing the landscape for what it really is. You really know where you are. You don't get lost when you have that view. When we want to see where we are and we're lost out in the wilderness, what you do is go find the high ground. I just think it's interesting, the idea of being able to change your perspective, to see out of being lost, to see out of being blinded, to see clearly, to see what's really there, to navigate in a much more calm and anxiety-free way. And that's to kind of gain that higher outlook, that to change your outlook. To change your outlook from being the experiencer, and the experiencer is the overly emotional person who's emotionally fragile, the snowflake, going through their dramas every day about this interaction with a hard world. There's all kinds of sticks coming at them all the time. They're running through the woods blinded, and they come out every day just scratched and beaten, and life is torturous. And it's like this woman in this video, just Felt like she's making her life so much harder. She could be more like my friend. And live in a realm of the observer, not the experiencer. Those are your choices. You can be in the realm of the experiencer or the realm of the observer. And when you elevate your outlook to the observer, like with my buddy with the drone, you don't get lost. You don't get cut by the sticks. You have so much more of an advantage. So we can change our outlook to being of the observer as we navigate through life simply by detaching from our emotional connection to everything. We can still be happy and experience wonder and awe when you see a sunset or hear your favorite song when it hits just the right time and you're like, damn, I needed to hear that. But you don't need to get lost in it so much to where it starts to hurt you. It starts to hinder you. It starts to hold you back. This is simply just a mindset training that we're talking about. Warriors know about this because in order to be able to navigate successfully as a warrior and to attack life, not just be a passive bunny rabbit going from bush to bush, dodging shots and spears, to be able to go out there and fight against your enemies, fight against the obstacles, and navigate around the ones you need to. That takes a certain level of, a certain mindset that has to be expansive. It can't be one too narrowly focused on experience. It has to be one detached, stoically detached, to be on the high ground and sit on top of that cliff, and you're watching all that action go below. You can see the whole herd go below. It's a perfect spot for hunting. And meanwhile, you may get somebody out there who's down in the valley, hungry, is starving to death, chasing the same herd around in circles. Outlook is everything. And that builds your emotional strength to have the proper outlook. It's how some people can go through trauma and just skate right through it. They're like surfing a wave. And some people drown. They get taken under by that trauma. It's happened to me. There's been certain things in my life that fucked me up. I've known people that were right next to me when it happened and it didn't fuck them up. And I'm just like, but how come I am tortured by this and you're not? Because they got their drone flying. They're not getting lost like I am. I don't know. It's all food for thought. Thanks for watching.